Hey everybody, welcome back to Readers the Right. Today we're tackling another book review of probably one of my favorite Warhammer 40k books I have ever read. And then that is Lion, Son of the Forest. This book just recently came out about, I want to say 6 to 8 months ago. And I finally had a chance to read it. Mike Brooks does a fantastic job. It was actually really cool to read this right after I read a book where the lion is a major character during the Horus Heresy. So it was cool to be able to contrast and compare the lion in these two different environments. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But for now, let's dive into this and talk a little bit about the Lion, Son of the Forest. So, for a little background, we know that the lion is one of the Primarchs. Primarch of the First Legion, who served the Emperor during the Great Crusade and fought for the Loyalists during the Horus Heresy. He is a very brutal being. He sometimes even refers to himself as the Emperor's exterminator. His legion sent in to clean up the things that need to be cleaned up permanently. And he is very, very driven, very loyal to his commander, or to his father, the Emperor, and will follow him in every detail, period. He doesn't tend to question. He doesn't want to be the figurehead of the Imperium or the heir to the Empire. He is the general who is sent to do his duty and clean up any mess that can't be shaped into something new. And this puts him in a very terrible position during the Horus Heresy, where he's forced to choose what will happen with his sons, because we know no legion's really pure. There are rebels in almost every single faction. And I'm not going to go into any more detail on that, because I don't want to spoil anything in case you haven't read those books yet. But there's a great catastrophe, and he ends up caught in a warp wormhole that sucks him in. And this book, he wakes up 10,000 years later. He's aged, he's gone through a lot of mental trials, and has learned to question more. He's lost some of his zealous faith. He still believes in his father, but he now knows that he has to be able to stand on his own 2 feet and trust his own decisions. And this is critical when he emerges into reality again, 10,000 years after he left. And he begins to run into his former sons, some of whom were technically fighting for the rebels, but had been tricked to do so. They were loyal, and they thought the lion had turned. And he has to reconcile with these sons instead of exterminate them, like was his original intent. And this dichotomy with the lion shows things that you don't get to see from him during the heresy. There is no mercy during the heresy. There is no belief that someone made a mistake, or there's no pity or empathy for someone who may have been caught on the wrong side of the fight. And you get to finally see that from the lion. He's shaped into a being that I can actually get behind. During a lot of the heresy, the lion's okay. His faction's really cool. I love the Dark Angels. And I love reading about them, but the lion is a little hard to get behind. When he steps into the 41st millennium, he is a sympathetic character. He wants to get back to his father. He wants to get back to the Imperium, and has to slowly fight his way through learning about himself and learning about the people around him and learning how to trust the people around him to builds somewhat of a stable environment where he can use a staging ground to find his sons and find the Imperium that are scattered throughout the galaxy when he doesn't have the means he used to. He doesn't have the large fleet and all the technology to drive into the galaxy and do what he wants. And that's something I find so cool. And watching how his sons react to him. In this book, it's mostly just the sons known as the Fallen, who were on the wrong side of that fight. They followed Luther and betrayed the Imperium without, a lot of times, without realizing they were doing it. They were led to believe that the line had turned against the Imperium and they were trying to defend Caliban from him. When in reality, the opposite was true. And watching this relationship form where no one trusts anyone, but then they have to try and find a way to trust each other, and watching this struggle of trust and betrayal and how people are trying to overcome that is something that is so well done in this book. It is, like I said, it is by far my favorite Warhammer 40k book that I've read recently, because it gives you so much emotion and so much intellectual thought while still being a Warhammer book, that it is so deep and so amazing that I absolutely recommend it. Mike Brooks does something I've never seen him do before, at least because I've only read mostly Warhammer 40k books by him, but he does take a much more personal approach to his character work. The character work in this story is something that a lot of authors like Brandon Sanderson would be proud of. It deep dives and creates emotional bonds and connections that you don't often get in a Warhammer 40k book, which is okay. The style of military science fiction that Warhammer 40k doesn't often lend itself to this. So I was very excited to see Mike Brooks fully embrace it when he had the chance. And there's not much more I can say without getting into spoilers. But I should say, the very last chapter, oh, that hits hard. Oof. If you've read it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, push through. There's an ending, and then there's basically an epilogue as the last chapter. That epilogue is absolutely worth it. Make sure you stick around for it. If you read this book, let me know in the comments below what your favorite part was. We'll try and stay spoiler-free, but I honestly don't think that'll happen. And the book's been out long enough that a lot of people have had the chance to read it. So make sure you check it out. I'll put a link in the bio or in the description so that you can find the book as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe. If you've enjoyed content like this, subscribing is a great way to stay tuned, and then ring a little notification bell down in the bottom corner. That will help you be notified anytime I've got more stuff like this coming. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.